Hello, you guys. This is such an odd time for me to be here, to be live. But welcome to the Sweet Life Cafe. I am your host, Stephanie J, right here in the Sweet Life Cafe that is on the Sweet Life of Stephanie J. And what is the Sweet Life of Stephanie J? It is a platform where women are honored for their dream, their motivation, their attitude, and what they living their dream, living their sweetest life. I bring women on here who have a purpose and a plan and are moving forward, and I get super excited to have all the women. I'm so honored to have this platform, and I'm so excited for all the women I brought on in the past and future women. And tonight, I'm going to have Lisa on here in just a second. But real quick, hey Lisa, I see you jump in there. Real quick announcements coming up in November, you guys. Finishing November strong, finishing the year strong. 2019, we're going to finish strong and start 2020 even stronger. We're going to get made in 2025. There's going to be 25 gifts of the holiday, but I'm going to start now because Lisa has important stuff to do and I don't want to waste a second. So guys, grab your seats, grab your notebooks, grab your cafe drink, and welcome to the Sweet Life Cafe. I'm going to bring Lisa in right now as I fade out the music. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I am having an amazing Sunday. I've been waiting for the opportunity to meet this lady face to face forever.
Hi!
I'm so excited.
I'm excited to be here too. Been looking forward to this for a very long time.
I have too. This is so exciting. Thank you so much. I know how busy your schedule is. I mean, just from the time trying to meet up with you, I know.
I know.
I appreciate you taking this time out, and welcome to the cafe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, tell the ladies a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Sure. Okay. So Lisa Smedley is my name. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. And yes, of course, love my hometown. Very proud to be from Cincinnati. Moved to California when I was 18 years old. I tell a lot of people always say, and I think I was speaking to you to this about this yesterday. I had a dream, and, I had very supportive parents. I knew what I wanted to do. My mom was a model, and I grew up around fashion. So I've always known that fashion was going to be somewhere in my path. I just wasn't for sure what I wanted to do, to be honest with you. But I knew I wanted to be in the fashion industry. So I went to California and went to college out there. And I ended up working at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. And to make a long story short, my first plan was to work at Saks Fifth Avenue. I was happy to be there. It was on Rodeo Drive. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Beverly Hills. I'm fine.
Wow.
So I was like, I'll work my way up to the Fifth Avenue Club and I'll just be a fashion consultant there. And I was very happy with that. What happened was I actually ended up meeting someone there at Saks Fifth Avenue who actually was employed there at the time too. She had a cousin who was actually dating a new agent, a person who had a new agency. And she was just starting out with hair, makeup, and wardrobe. Had no idea what that was, had no idea about the entertainment industry. And she said, you should really call this lady. I think you'd be really good in working with entertainers. Because as you know, Saks Fifth Avenue and Beverly Hills, we came into contact with a lot of celebrities. Yeah. So it's funny how that paved the way to me working with celebrities and just being comfortable working with them and, getting a collection for them, whatever event they were looking for me to shop for them. So make a long story short, I met with this lady. She loved me. And she said, you really need to do this for, celebrities and music videos. So I'm going to, get you hooked up with one of my key costume stylists. And at the time it was Michelle Cole, who was actually the designer for Blackish now.
Oh,
and
gosh,
she
wow.
actually, so I owe her everything, but she trained me. And she was tough on me. She was very tough. And Crystal, who was the agent at the time for me, was very tough on me too. But that's basically how it paved the way to me being introduced to the entertainment world.
Well, I'm just going to run through a few of, first of all, this is the list of the resume.
She printed out my resume.
I sure did, girl. I got to do my research. I only find worthy women to come on the Sweet Life Cafe. I'm not playing around.
I love it. But
I'm just going to read off a few. You can go to her website, fashionstylingbylisa.com. But these are just a few really quick. So in film, Greenleaf, season 3 and season 4, costume buyer, costume designer for season 4. Raising Dion, which I was going to watch, and I saw that on Netflix. Now I'm going to really watch it. Set costume, costumer. Palms with Diane Keaton, set costumer. Uncle Drew, costume buyer. In commercials, NBA Legends with Shaquille O'Neal, Crystal's commercial, Speedway, Sprite. I'm just naming off like a few. You can see the list. TV celebrity appearances, the Grammys, MTV Awards, Arsenio Hall, woo, 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 Jay Leno, Billboard Awards, and music videos, Boys to Men, Whitney Houston, Joey Lawrence, Genuine, one of my favorites. Yes. Editorial prints, Sprite, Fitness Magazine, Upscale, Heart and Soul, Celebrity Print, Celine Dion, Stevie Wonder, Mike Tyson. I only named like 3 or 4 out of all these categories. So she is not messing around. She is not messing around.
Thank you.
Do you think that was great? Like, so I know a lot of people, like people that I've met who start doing something they're passionate about, when they meet that challenge, they stop. They give up.
Right.
What kind of information or what kept you like pushing past those tough agents, pushing past those, you know, the people who are really tough on you?
Right. And it was tough. I mean, I have to tell you a quick story. When I signed with Crystal, when I became one of her first, I guess, so to speak, people who she was trying to train to be eventually a costume designer in the industry, I never forget, and I tell my daughter the story all the time. I was just starting out, and I called her up, and I left a message for her. And it was just a casual conversation, voicemail left for her regarding a job that I was trying to get. And she called me back, and she said, "Lisa, you said in your voicemail 20, like she literally counted 20 times. She said you said it, and she said, don't ever call someone up about a job, whether it be a production company or a director, and use the word because it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about or that you're not confident." And I tell you what, that was something, I was like, oh my gosh, I said, because I wasn't aware of it. And even now,
oh my God,
I catch myself, because those are just the things that you don't think about. Because it's always about, I hate to say this, it is about perception, this business. Yeah. And a lot of times people, you'd be surprised, they get away with doing things based on just feeling like they know what they're talking about, even if they don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, and, yeah, I know that. That is true across a lot of industries. That is not particular to the fashion industry.
Yeah. So it's all about perception. And, there are a lot of times that if I don't know, I'm going to find out. I'm not going to let you know I don't know, but I'm going to find out whatever it is that I need to know. So just little things like that she gave me pointers on, which really you would think, oh, that has nothing to do with the fashion industry. But it is about developing relationships with directors. It's about developing relationships with production companies. You want them to feel like they chose the best person. And you want them to feel like that you know exactly what you're doing. You're confident that you're going to show them that you can do everything they want and beyond that. So it's so much more. And people always say, oh, I'm a great shopper. Can I assist you? And I always say that's so much a small part of it, believe it or not. It's so much more than just shopping and getting great outfits. It really is researching and, doing your homework and learning the script and shopping and learning about the character and learning what the director wants. And sometimes what the director wants is not what the production company wants. You have to figure out how I can make both of them happy. Sometimes the artist wants something totally different from the director. And then you have to figure out, okay, how do I go in the middle to where they're both being happy? So it is a lot of work, but getting back to your question with the no's, I had a lot of no's before I went to California. I mean, even people in Cincinnati were just like, oh my gosh, you're not so far and you'll be back. And, who goes to California, 18 years old? But I think just with me, I've always knew that I wanted something bigger than what Cincinnati was offering. And not to knock Cincinnati, because I love Cincinnati. I'm so blessed to have been from a wonderful city. My morals, everything, family life was awesome. But I just knew that there was something else that I wanted. And what it wasn't going to be found in Cincinnati. So I was extremely passionate about what I wanted to do. I was very determined. And I think in this industry, because it is so tough, And I say this all the time when I speak to people, you really have to, beyond the shadow of a doubt, know this is what you want to do. Because if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, I always say just, I would say take a minute, take a step back and look at all the pros and cons of it, because it is a very tough business. You have to have thick skin. You're going to get your feelings hurt. But if every time I get my feelings hurt, if I walked away, I would not have been in this business for over, 18, 19 years. So it is really just knowing that is your passion, knowing that you're cut out to do the work, staying tough, staying strong, having positive people around you, having people that you're learning from. I'm always saying to people, I'm never, ever too old to learn. I've been in this business for 20 years and I'm still calling up costume designers like Ruth Carter. I love Ruth Carter. I would love to I have never done it yet, but I'm like, one day I'm going to sit and have coffee with her, because every person you can learn from, and you're never too old to learn. You're never too old to reinvent yourself.
No, never.
And it's an ongoing, especially in this business, you're always in a situation you have to keep up with what's going on. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to constantly, because it's so many people, especially now, more so than ever, everyone wants to be in this business. And with Instagram, it's like, you become famous overnight. But I think the reality is that how long are you able to stay in the business for? It's the longevity that you want to go after, not just a fly-by-night person and then, a year later, no one knows about you. It's about staying in the business and having respect in the business while you're doing it, and integrity, where people are like, we want to call her back. So that's really what I've tried to build with my career is when people work with me, the best compliment they could give me is they call me back. And I've been blessed that I've had people work with me for years, and they're just like, I will only work with Lisa. I'll only work with, her on whatever. So,
and that's probably why this is so long.
Thank you. Yeah, it really is about building relationships. It really is about just making sure your client's happy. That's really what it boils down to. It's just making sure that everyone is happy, and that in the end, they're going to call you back, and that they love your work, basically.
I feel like that's across the board. Like I told somebody recently, relationships are everything. Every relationship you make, no matter who you're talking to, that is the next step to everything. It's not so much you, it's who is the next person you can build a good, solid relationship with. It sounds like in your industry, especially, and even in your life, that those relationships are what took you to the next level.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think that you would have at this point, so you had at 18, you moved to California? Oops, I did not mean to turn that around. You did not mean to see that better. You turned that back around. Oh gosh. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Thank God it was not laundry piled up over there. That's a rarity. Do you think now, had you not moved there at 18, would you have done it later in your life? As you got a little more mature, do you think you would have made that same decision?
I think if I would have waited, I think I probably wouldn't have done it, to be honest with you, because I think that everything else, maybe eventually I would have did it later on in life, but I think everything else would have been put before what I wanted to do. I think I look at some of my friends and they're just like, I really wish I would have left, but you end up having love, and you end up having kids, and that's life, and so it makes it harder. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but it definitely puts a brake on it until you can get to it. So I think
that's
and
true.
It's so funny because my mom, when I was 18, I was like, I don't want to, I'm not sure if I want to go to California. And my mom said, Lisa, you need to go. And I said, I know, but I want to get married. I want to do this. There's plenty of time for that. And I think everyone has a journey. Everyone has a different path they have to take. And I tell people all the time, my story might not be your story. You can still get to where I'm going, but it might not be the same journey. And I just feel like my journey was definitely to go at 18 the way God laid it out for me, even for me working at Saks Fifth Avenue and meeting an agent who I never dreamed I would meet. And just the way the path worked out for me, because reason I went to California is because my mom had a twin sister there who lived there. So even
Okay.
with my mom's twin sister living there already, and her husband was actually in the original Soul Train gang. And
Oh,
his brother
wow.
was in Shalimar. Yeah. So I'm just kind of like got the
Oh,
whole
wow.
music. Yeah. So my whole background and family is just like everything is just surrounded with music and art. And but her husband at the time, he's passed, but was in the Soul Train gang. And his brother was in, like I said, the very first Shalimar. But
Oh,
even with
wow.
that, yeah. So even with that, me moving to California and being around him, and him saying, okay, we're going to go to Soul Train. I'm going to introduce you to Don Kinnear. So even just little things like that, it was just like these little steps that just got me closer and closer to where I believed I was destined to be. Basically.
And that's how life does. I mean, it's
yes.
like the Bible always says, from faith to faith, and from glory to glory. And that's
right.
what those steps are. That's
right.
what those steps
that's
are.
Right.
But you have two like beautiful children. Now, how did they play into this career? Because I'm looking at this list of accomplishments.
Yes.
I'm like, how's she have time to
I know. My heartbeats that are not
They're
little
so
babies anymore. They're definitely not little babies. But anyway, so a lot of people don't know this. Some do, my family, of course. But after I had my kids, I actually took a break from the business. And I mean, I was doing it when my daughter was smaller. Probably she's about 2. But I took a break because I said, okay, I want to travel and
you're going
do
dark.
all these things. Oh, hold on one second.
Okay.
Technical difficulties there. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my lights. I'm at a friend's house, and I don't know. That's not good. Hold on one second.
Oh, no,
there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
And
his
then
lights are like, I'm at a friend's house. Okay. So anyway, I took a break for a while. I took a break to stay at home with my daughter. And what happened is that my dad actually got sick. He actually got diagnosed with lung cancer. And I actually took a 10-year break from the industry.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and people were just like, you're crazy. You're never going to get back into it. Oh my gosh, there's my lights again. You're not going to. I'm going to keep talking as
keep talking.
I think it's something wrong with this. Okay, there we go. So I took a 10-year break from the industry to take care of my dad, who was diagnosed with lung cancer. I actually went back to Cincinnati, which a lot of people don't know. And after he passed, then my mom got sick. So it was just like, that was totally something that was obviously I wasn't planning to happen. I mean, no one plans for your mom and dad to both get sick so close together. And they were both young. So they both passed. And after my mom passed, I said to myself, my mom would not want me to be at home. My kids were older at that time. They were now in high school. And I knew my love was always still fashion. I mean, it never ended, even when I was at home with my kids. But I knew that's something that was still in me. And it's so funny because I had a person say to me, well, you're too old and the industry's changed. Now we have Instagram. And I didn't know anything about the whole Instagram. I was so informative about any of that stuff. But I was determined again to get back into it. And because of my relationships that I had with other people from back in years ago, I just started calling them up and I said, hey, I know it's been, 10 years, but I'm back. I like to do, fashion again. Actually, I like to do, because at that time when I left the industry, I was mainly doing TV, but mainly doing commercials and mainly doing entertainment and mainly doing music videos and the Grammys and things like that. But when I went back, I said, I think I want to start really focusing on movies. So that was kind of like my way of saying I'm going to take a step up. So I literally just started calling people, and I actually called my very first agent who got me into it. She's no longer an agent anymore. She actually has a mentorship. But I called her up and I said, Crystal, I'm ready to get back in this business. And everyone's saying I'm too old, but I know I can do it. And she was like, you can do it, Lisa. Just, it's going to take hard work, but you can do it. So I started getting my website back up, and just, I mean, it took me, I don't know, about a year, to be honest with you, to get it back up. I started, believe it or not, assisting other people. And people were like, why are you assisting other people?
I love that you shared that. That is so good.
People were like, why are you assisting? I said, I don't care. I just want to get my foot in the door again. So I was assisting other people, and people were just like, you know more than me, but I didn't care. I just felt like if I could just get my foot in the door and just start getting that going again, that whole like process of working with people and people knowing my name, eventually I would, you know, get to where I am again. So, and so a lot of people always say, oh, she just, you know, all of a sudden she was back in it. No, it was me having to humble myself and work with other people. And believe me, there was times where I was just like, why am I assisting this person when, you know, I probably got more things on my resume, but you know, it's a process. Everything is a process. And I really believe that with me being humble, that is a huge part of where I am today, you know, because if you go in thinking I know it all, I don't have to work hard, it's just going to happen, it usually it doesn't happen that way.
I'm so glad you said that. Jamie from Blended Black Family said, wow, talk about humble. Yeah, because so many, you know, because so many people are stuck in the Instagram world where everything, you know, happens suddenly and no one has to work hard, blah, 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 blah. And they lose track of the fact that you may have to be humble, and you may have to start in the bottom, and you may have to learn from that. And there's some people who don't want to do that. They want to go straight to the top. That I'm like so glad that you shared that, because I want people to really hear that it's not, you know, you have to do the work.
You have to do the work, and you have to, when you're doing it, look at it always as, oh, this is beneath don't look at it as this is beneath me. Look at it as, what am I learning from it? You know, what am I learning? I mean, the girl that I was assisting at the time, and she was just like, you're crazy for wanting to assist me. I said, her name was Mary. She was lovely, lovely person, lovely. And I said, Mary, I don't care. I just want to, because she was actually a seamstress. And I said, I just want to learn from you. I just want to, because this business has changed in 10 years. I haven't been in this business so there are things probably that are going on set now that I'm probably not even aware of, because things have changed. And I learned new things, you know, about just the system, and like there's all these different ways of putting that we have a system called Sync on Set, which a lot of people in the film industry would know. But Sync on Set is it's a app that we go on where we put in different changes for different characters, and it's just like a whole way of keeping up with the different. It's a whole system, but like I had no idea about that until I started working with these people again. Because I mean, when I was in the business, there was no Instagram, there was no, you know, you took your portfolio to the people, there was no setting up the website and sending over anything on the internet. Everything was face-to-face, one-on-one. So basically, I always say to everyone, it is so important that everything that you do in this business, look at it as, what am I learning from it? Even if it's something that you hate, I mean, you're going to learn something. If worst case, you're going to learn you don't want to do it, if anything. But
that's true.
You know, I mean, you're going to learn something. And like I always say to a lot of my assistants who, you know, I have a lot of assistants who have lasted. I have some who unfortunately have been like, I just can't do this, because they get on set and they're just like, oh my gosh, it's so fast paced and it's so rigorous and it's so, you know, it's quick. It's not like, you know, you can even really think sometimes. It's just, you just got to know what to do. And so it is a very fast paced, you know, because you're meeting deadlines and you're on set and they only have 12 hours you could be on set and get every single scene done, and your changes have to be quick and you have to be organized. I mean, it's so much that goes into commercials and the TV world and movies, and you just really have to know without a shadow of doubt this is what you want to do, because it is a fast pace. But I always say, if it's something that's really in your heart and you have a passion for it, then it really shouldn't be hard to you. It really shouldn't feel like it's work. It should feel like it's okay that I'm doing this, because this is, in the end, this is what's going to happen. So it's kind of like, that's how you know, because if you're constantly like, oh God, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, then you probably shouldn't really be in the business.
Yeah.
You really probably shouldn't be doing it. If it's something that you dread doing all the time, because it's just so much to it that you really have to. I mean, there's things that I don't always love about. I hate the paperwork. I hate doing
I'm
that.
the same.
You know what I mean? And I hate like getting the budget together and all that. But I mean, it goes with, it's part
That's
of it.
what happens with us creative people. Like, you get us in front of a bunch of papers and a computer with a budget, and we're like, God, this is torture.
I hate doing the receipts, and I hate all that. But that's a huge part, because guess what? If you go over a budget or everything, you probably most likely won't get called back. So that's a huge part of making sure that I have my receipts and it's organized, and I went, I stayed on budget. So it all works together. But like I said, if it's something you really are passionate about and you're willing to put in the work, then I feel like it'll always pay off in the end. It always pay off, for sure.
I learned some amazing lessons myself, and I know you have a meeting at 7:30, so it's 7:25. So I wanted to make sure I kept you on your time schedule.
It's actually at 7:40, so I have it to 7:35. Okay. Yes.
Okay, we got a little bit of time. Well, anybody has any questions, I want you to go ahead and throw them in. We probably have probably about 10 more minutes. But I just want, if you have any questions, you can use the question right below, like at the bottom on the Instagram screen, there's a question mark. You can put questions in there and they'll pop up. So if you put those in, you can ask Lisa questions about anything. You can ask me questions, but I just want to have a chance for people to pop in questions as we move forward and kept talking. Like, you're really, like, the things you're telling me that are things that, like, with me being a new entrepreneur and starting at 52 and not really haven't done anything. I mean, I worked in like the nursing world. What can you like give us, especially for, and I know I have like a aspiring fashion stylist there. What can you tell us, like 5 things that people like new entrepreneurs or fashion stylists that can help us to really take the right steps?
I think, first of all, it's knowing that the path you take is not always going to be the same path as someone else. So looking at how somebody else did it, or looking at this person got to this point from point A to point B, should be, everyone's route is different. That's the first thing I would say. And sometimes you'll get there quicker than someone, sometimes you get there slower, but just knowing that is your path and only your path, no one else's. I would say having positive people around you that are very supportive. Unfortunately, I've lost many of friends, that are just, I had to eliminate them from my life, because it's just, the negative energy would definitely bring you to a place you don't want to be. Yes. So definitely having positive. I mean, I've been blessed to have great parents and great family, and just people that have been wonderful friends that have been extremely supportive of me. So I would definitely say having positive people around you. I would say making a list, and what I've always done is I make a list. I mean, literally I get up every day and I have a list already, but every year what I do is I always have a list. And, a lot of people say it's your vision board, or you can call it whatever. I don't call it vision board. I just have literally a list that I write down in my journal, because I do journal every day.
I love journaling.
And I love journaling, and I've always loved journaling. And every day I have something that I'm working on. And one thing I've learned is I can't have 20 things on there and expect to get 20 things done in a certain amount of time. It's at my pace. It's one thing at a time, but it's definitely taking steps and writing it down. And so you can say, okay, this is what I'm working on, and then taking the steps to work on it. What do I need to do? For me, like I said, when I got back in this business, my goal was I really wanted to focus on doing more TV and more movies. So I said, what do I need to do to take those steps? Well, first of all, I was calling people who were actually in the moving industry, calling production companies and sending my resume, and calling costume designers that were head designers of, different projects, and saying, look, I want to do movies now, and this is my resume. I don't have a lot of experience in it as of now, but I'm a great worker. I can do this. I've got a great experience in this business. And it really is just taking the steps, and not just writing it down and saying, okay, God's going to bless me and I'll sit here and wait. It's definitely taking action. You know, and I hear a lot of people say, oh, I wrote it down. Well, you got to write it down and you got to take the action. You got to do both. So, taking the steps and, and Google, that's one thing I have to say about the industry now is that Google is like an amazing resource of calling people and getting information and reading. I read all the time. I love to read. I'm constantly reading books about even just different designers because I love the history of design. So I'm always reading about different designers and how they were inspired and what they did to take steps. And so all that plays into how I focus on my journey. It all plays in, you gather all that information and then you take the steps according to how you need to go to build the path that you want to be on. So I would say definitely that it's definitely a focus. Definitely focus and just a lot of just being determined, and not saying to, of course we all have those days where we're like, okay, I can't do this, I'm tired. But the most important thing is not staying there. It's getting back to where you need to go to move forward. I think that's the most important thing is just not to stay in that moment. Give it a second where you feel sorry and then you keep it going, basically. Yeah.
Oh God, those are so good. And I love that. Like and writing things down. Like I tell people that all the time. Write it down, but set a goal the way you can. Don't do it. Don't look at the way somebody else does it, the way, someone else does it. You got to know yourself well enough to know like, okay, I can plan. Some people can put a list of 10 things. I'm like you. I have like a weekly thing, like this is what I'm working on this week. And then every day I break it down by this is what I need to work on towards that. This is what I need to work on towards that.
Right.
And then those are those steps. Those are the steps that you take to get there. And I love what you said about you went out and called people. Like people are so afraid now. And I can even say like sometimes myself, as much as I love people and I have no problem talking to people, sometimes picking up that phone or sending that email is the most.
It is. It can be. And let me tell you something. When I'm calling, like I never forget one of my videos that I worked with. I worked with Marcus Nispel, who has now done the directing for oh gosh, what is the movie? He's done like some huge movies. And I can't remember now off the top of my head because I went blank. But he's done like huge movies. And at the time, I was so intimidated. Like, so I was like, this guy is like huge. And, a lot of the music directors that I work with are doing movies now. And so I'm just like, but at the time when I was working with them, I knew they were doing movies too, or at least started to do movies. And it really is a confidence thing when you're talking to these directors, because you can really get intimidated. If I walk in there and I'm like, I don't know. They're probably going to be like, you know what, get the next person. You have to be so confident and so in a position where you feel like you've done your homework. Every time I get a project, before I go to meet with the director, whoever I'm meeting with the production company, I am asking questions. I am on Google and I'm looking up information. I am making sure I know every single detail about that project before I go in to meet anyone, because it's so important that you do your homework on anything. And that's really with any job. You always want to know that you are capable of answering any questions. And if you don't know the answer, you better find it, because that is all what it's about, is knowing that you are confident in what you're doing. And like I said, if you don't know it, you can fake it only so much. You can only fake it so much, but you really have to do your homework and know what you're working on, what character you're working on. With me, like for instance, I'm on a vintage movie now. I am on the internet every single day looking up 60s clothes, looking up from the time they wore, type of socks they wore, to the way they tie their tie, to everything. It's so important that those little details that and you'd be surprised when the directors that you're working with, especially the directors that I work with, every little detail counts. And they might not say it, but they'll say it when they get on set. Oh, okay, she remembered that the tie was this way back in this, or this is the colors that they wore. So it's just so important that with anything, especially in this business, that you are getting the knowledge and making sure you're always doing your homework and keeping yourself up to par to what's going on, because things change all the time in this business, as you know. It's just very fast paced. Things go quickly, and you can easily be replaced. That's one thing I have to say. I'm never, ever in the position where I feel like I'm too good to not be replaced. And that's so important, because if you get to the point where you're like, oh, I've got it, they can't replace me, I'm good, then usually that's when you get replaced.
Oh,
It's always knowing that, I got to stay up on my game, because I can be replaced easily, and being thankful and being humble about it, and not taking it for granted. So I just think with all those things that pretty much I've learned from my mom, just being grateful and staying humble. And I mean, I even have gone as far as, and my daughter, she was laughing at me one time because I said, I'm writing thank you notes to all the directors that I work with. Every year I send thank you cards, and I send
oh my gosh,
Christmas cards. Yeah, little things like that. And you'd be surprised how just something like, not even an email. I don't email it. I actually get a card and I write a note. There was a guy that I work with, Jeff Hamilton. He's a designer in LA, and he's done like, oh my gosh, everyone you could think of, as far as he does leather coats. And I'll never forget when I first started in this business, when I really first started doing music videos, I sent him a thank you card. I said, thank you so much for, because he let me use a lot of these leathers for free, because they were being put on celebrities. So he was like, okay, you're going to, work with this person. Great. You can use them for free. I was so thankful that he let me do that. And I sent him a thank you note. And to this day, he still says, do you know you're like one of the very few costume designers ever sent a thank you note? He was like, you can use my stuff anytime, because it was such an impact on him. And at the time, I was just like, I'm just running a thank you note. I'm just doing pretty much what my mom taught me I should do, is you thank people. And so you just be surprised, just little things, how it just sets you apart from other people. So he's just like, anytime to this day, you want to use my stuff, just call me anytime. Wow. So it really is developing relationships. Like I said, hard work. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. It really is about the relationships that you're building, and the respect that you're getting, and their integrity, and them saying, we want her to come back on this project. Basically.
Well, She Bad Society asks, how do you stay humble?
Oh, wow. How? I think just basically knowing, like I said, that you can be replaced.
That would keep you humble.
Yes. No, I mean, because this business is a hard business, and everybody's looking to replace you. Everybody is, I've had people who I've had, unfortunately, go behind my back and like try to call people up and say, oh, I want to. So it's a very dog-eat-dog business. I think it's just basically just the way I was raised. It's just to be humble, be thankful, not take things for granted. And I just feel like I've been blessed. I really feel like this is a blessing that I have. People always say to me, you're so lucky to do what you love, because there's so many people who are in careers that they hate.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And so, and I hear it all. I mean, people are just like, you're so happy and you're so, excited to do these projects. And I'm like, because I love it. And I think about it, and I'm like, I really am blessed. I really am blessed to do what I love, and to be good at it, and to have it to where people want to work with me all the time. So I think that's a huge part of me staying humble, because I just know that's something that God has given me, and I want to be an example. I don't want anyone to ever say, oh, she's so horrible to work with, or she's this way. I hope that whoever's assisting me, I have a great assistant now that assists me, and she's always like, I love you. And I hope that, when she's working with me, that she is learning, and that she's knowing that it's okay to be nice and humble, and you don't have to be a mean spirit person to make it in this business.
I bet the industry appreciates it. I bet the industry appreciates that too.
Yeah.
She Bad Society asks, what do you think is the misconception people have about designers and stylists?
I think that a lot of people think it's all just shopping. I have so many people say, because, and it is a lot of shopping, but I think people don't understand that it's way more than just shopping. I mean, when I'm creating, for like, when we're working on Greenleaf or whatever show I'm working on, we are creating characters.
Mm-hmm.
So we are learning about, we're reading a 200-page script that would usually change every single day. I mean, every day it might change. So then you got to reread again. You are going through every single change that they have in that one episode. I mean, sometimes in Greenleaf, they will have 10 changes each. And then you're trying to figure out if the colors work with the art department, if the colors work for the scene, or if the director likes the color. I mean, it's so much more than just find a great outfit. You know, I could find a great outfit, but then the colors might not work for that particular background that we're choosing, you know, the colors. So then I have to say, or it might not work for what the director likes. He might have a different perception of how he wants that, you know, certain character to look. So it's so much more than shopping. It's a lot of hard work. But like I said, if you love it, then, you know, I don't mind the hard work, but it's definitely way more than shopping.
Oh my God. Well, we are at 7:40, so I don't want you to miss your meeting. We have to have you back on again because we barely scratched the surface. Well, real quick, where can people find you right now if they want to find out more about you?
So my Instagram page is, and I'm getting better at this. My daughter's like, Mom, I'm going to get better at this. But my Instagram page is Lisa_loves_fashion_. And if you want to, I'm always having people email me with questions. You can email me fashionstylingby@gmail.com. And I just before I go, I have to say this. I am working on, hopefully, and I'm really, this has been one of my desires to do this for a very long time. People keep saying, you know, you should do a workshop, you should start doing seminars. I get asked that all the time. And so in 2020, I'm really going to focus on trying to do something like that.
All right.
Yeah,
good.
So I'll keep you posted. If I do, you're going to be the first to know. I'm going to come on and let you know. But that's what I'm working on because I have so many young people asking me, and I'm like, you know what? I really need to get my story out. I need to get this out to people. And so that is my goal, is to hopefully sometime in 2020 start that process where I'm doing more seminars and workshops and just one-on-one helping young girls.
That's so awesome. Well, one last thing, Blended Black Family said, especially Lady May, you got to keep her on point.
Oh my God. I love Lynn Whitfield, but yeah, she is Lynn Whitfield. Yeah, I love her. It is,
so cool.
That's a great cast that I work with on Greenleaf. And the thing about Lynn was that she is a veteran actress, as we all know, so she knows exactly what she wants. And so she's awesome to work with. I've learned so much from her because she is a person who knows what she wants. She knows how she wants it. And she's like, this is what I want. And you go get it. And that's it. That's just the way it is. It's cut and dry. So, yeah. But, yeah, Lady May is, Greenleaf is going to be, I think we're on the 8th, 9th episode. I can't remember. I have to go back and look.
I can't wait to watch the season.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I know. You told me that. Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a great
I have to wait
season.
till it ends.
Yes. Yeah, you have to wait.
Well, then I get to watch all of them in a row. So I like doing that.
Yeah, just binge watch. You have to do a binge watch. Yes, for sure.
I get a binge watch.
So look out for my new project. So I do have a couple of commercials coming out. And then I also have the project that I'm working on now, which is the Fran Hampton story. And so that's with Warner Brothers. Yeah, so that comes out in next year sometime. I'm not sure the exact date. But that is starring the guy from Get Out, who was the lead role in Get Out. He's playing Fran Hampton, yes. So be looking out for that. And I have a couple of other things coming up, too. So I will definitely keep you posted. And thank you for having me, Stephanie. Yes,
we definitely have to have you back because we just scratch the surface. Like we just like.
And once I start talking, as you can tell, I talk a lot. So
I love it.
Once I start talking, I'm like I can't stop. So we definitely have to. Yes, for sure. Do this again, for sure.
Lisa, thank you so much. This is so good. So good. I'm inspired. I'm ready to I'm so motivated now. I'm ready to go do some more. But I'm going to let you get to your meeting because I want you to stay on point for what you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And
absolutely.
Yes, any questions, I would be happy to answer them. And definitely we'll be doing this again for sure.
And I will share your email and everything or your website so that people can find you there too. So if they need to ask questions, because I always have questions, but I always feel bad reaching out because I know
I love it. I love it. I mean, listen, as soon as I get the moment to do it, I'm always eager to answer questions because I was that person. I always feel like I was always that person. I was that person too, you know, who wanted information. And so I'm always like, I want to give back. I have to give back. That's all part of the process, I believe. So,
all right, you guys heard. So if you have questions about the fashion industry and moving in, definitely contact Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much.
Thank
you.
We're
going to stay in contact. We're going to talk a lot more.
And give your precious daughter a kiss from me.
I will. I definitely will.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, girls. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Bye, Lisa.
Bye-bye.